Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Today we are checking out Happier by Ed Sheeran. It's a really beautiful song and a nice one as kind of an advanced beginner tune. It can be played really simply, and I'm going to talk you through a few ways to approach this if you're a real beginner and you want to play this tune, because it can be very easy. To play it exactly the way he plays it with a little fingerstyle riff has a couple of things that are a little bit tricky, but not super tricky, and the kind of thing that with a little bit of practice most beginners would be able to find they could do fairly comfortably. To do it and sing at the same time might be a little bit more sticky, but again, it's just practice. It's programming up the muscle memory to be able to do that thing automatically while you think about the singing. So let's break this down now and start with it in its most simple form and work our way up to the fingerstyle version. In the most basic form of this song, it is 2 beats of A minor, 2 beats of F, and 4 beats of C. So A minor for 2, F or F major 7 to C. 2, 3, 4. That's A minor to F to C. That's it. Now, if you're doing my beginner's course and you've encountered F for the first time, this is a great song for that, because the A minor to F is a very common kind of chord change to get used to practicing. So is the F to the C. So by practicing A minor, F to C, in playing it, using it in a real world example, you kind of get the enjoyment of playing the song, but you're also working on those chord changes, which can be a really great thing. It's also possible to play it with bar chords. If you're a more advanced guitar player, you could play A minor, F to C, which is one of the ways that Ed Sheeran layers it up if he's doing using his looper pedal thing. You could also play it as power chords. If you weren't up for a full bar chord, you could do A minor, F to C. It's A minor, 5th fret, 7th fret, 7th fret on the thickest 3 strings. F, same shape, moving it down so your first finger is in the 1st fret, 3rd and 4th fingers are in the 3rd fret. C, where your first finger is going to go down on the 3rd fret of the 5th string, muting the thickest string if you can. 3rd and 4th fingers will go down the 5th fret of the middle 2 strings. Okay, and it'd be 1 and 2 and 1 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. If you're going to do the power chords or the bar chords version, that would be it. Just all down strums. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Nice and simple, right? So now I'm going to take you through exactly what's played on the record, show you the chords first of all, and then we'll go through and look at the fingerstyle pattern and some of the little embellishments that are being used. So we're starting off with our A minor chord. Thumb is going to play the 5th string. Then first finger is going to play the 4th string. 2nd and 3rd fingers are going to play the 2nd and 3rd strings together. And then first finger will play the 4th string again. So it'll be 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Just as a little note here, some of you might find it easier to use your little finger as an anchor and just rest it on the body of the guitar. It'll help your fingers find where the strings are. Now, my little finger's really short, and if I do that, it means that I can't really utilize my 2nd and 3rd fingers very well. So I don't do that, but most of the guitar players that I really love do use a little finger anchor. I tend to use the palm of my hand resting either on the guitar body itself above the sound hole or kind of next to it, or resting on the strings. So in this case, it's just resting on the thicker string most of the time, the heel of my palm. Now, just so I've got some way of kind of judging where the strings are. You can see there that the back of my hand is not moving much. My fingers are making the movements. If you watch my knuckles where they meet the top of my hand, they're not really moving much at all. So that would be a good thing to work on as well. That'll help you play it easier if you think about the technique a little bit as well. So that's the first part, 1 and 2 and. Now we go to our F major 7, but what I want you to do is put your 3rd finger down on the 3rd fret, but not put your 2nd finger down on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string yet, just leave it off. And you're going to play those with the thumb, 1st finger and 2nd finger. You're going to pluck that 3rd fret, the open G string, the open 3rd string, and the 2nd string together, and you're going to hammer that 2nd finger down So you're not playing again, you pick and then hammer that second finger. You have to hammer it pretty hard to get that note to ring out. In reality, it's really fast. It's not like a rhythmic. It's not that. It's just really, really quick. Something, again, you just want to practice this one little bit. If you can't do it, just keep practicing. A bit slower. Get the note nice and clear until you can do it where it's feeling. Because that rest of that first bar is... Okay, so we do all three strings at once. Thumb, first and second finger, play all at once. Hammer that second finger down. Lift second finger off. First and second fingers are going to play twice. The open string and then that first finger. And then you put second finger down without the hammer on. You just play it and you're going to pick it with the first and second fingers again. So 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and. So you end up with this, the first bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you notice that the thumb, first and second fingers have had to move down. On here, from here they're holding the middle 4 strings, but then when we go to the F, thumb, first and second fingers are moved down. Now part of the reason that you want to do that is because the edge of your thumb is likely to mute the 5th string accidentally. Even if it doesn't want to, when it goes to play that 4th string, it's going to likely to touch the 5th string and stop it ringing out, which makes it sound better. Okay, otherwise you run the risk of that note still ringing out when it goes to the F, and you don't really want that. Now we go back to that original position where thumb is on the 5th string and then thumb 1, 2, 3, 4 are there on consecutive strings, the middle 4 strings. You're going to start with your C chord but with the second finger off and hammer it on again. So you want to practice a bit more. And this is a great move to be doing anyway, like on a C chord. Almost any time you've got a C chord, you can add that second finger down as a hammer. It's a really nice little ornament to learn just for your general guitar skills, not just for this song. So we end up now 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, I'd recommend that you get used to that first of all. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And if there are any bits to that you find difficult, go and practice the individual bit. If you're having trouble hammering on there with the second finger for the F chord or hammering on the second finger for the C chord, give them a little bit of practice on their own and make sure you get the rhythm nice and consistent. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and again 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, really, really important that you get the rhythm for these things right, especially if you want to get a bit clever later on and start using a looper like Ed does. You've got to get that rhythm nice and consistent. Now, the way he plays after the C chord changes a little bit. It's slightly less the first couple of times he plays it. So after he's done the C with the hammer on, he goes, second and third fingers are going to play the second and third strings, and then thumb will play the bass. Together, fingers, thumb, thumb, fingers, thumb, together, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now later in the song he adds another pick with the fingers, so it becomes a nicer and a little bit more consistent pattern. You have 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and together, fingers, thumb, fingers, thumb, fingers, thumb, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and together, 2 and 3 and 4 and. Again, these bits, you want to practice them just a little bit at a time and make sure all of the components are comfortable before you try and stick the whole thing together. Once you feel comfortable with the pitch, you want to practice it really nice and slowly. So the whole thing, but 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, once you're confident with it and you can do it nice and slowly, you build it up to the original recording speed and have a go at playing along with Ed. It's a beautiful tune, and that is the riff that's played consistently through the whole song. But if you're playing it on your own, you're going to find if you do it that same way right the way through, it's going to get pretty boring, which is one of the reasons why when Ed's playing live, he's using different loops. He records a little bit of a percussion thing as well and switches up what he's playing depending on where he is in the song. So generally the verses will be this fingerstyle part. When it comes into the chorus, the bigger part, he'll move to the chords. A minor, F to C. Just all downstrokes now. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Sometimes bar chords. And then back into the... Now also note that in the original recording, when it goes to the kind of the quiet bit, there's a quiet verse where he just strums it and it's just... Same chord, still A minor 7, F, F major 7 really, C. And you just keep it really that simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because playing the same thing for a whole song can get pretty boring, learning to use dynamics can really transform your playing if you're a beginner. So have a listen to the way Ed Sheeran does it. He's a master of using dynamics for different sections of his songs, keeping it real quiet in the verses, really big in the choruses, and that kind of differentiation between the different sections really will help keep the interest of the listeners, and something that if you pay attention to it, it'll really make you sound a lot better. Help people sing along as well. When it comes to chorus, you start playing louder and harder, makes people want to sing along more. It's a really something to really lift your game if you're a beginner guitar player and you want to get yourself up to that next place. And studying dynamics and learning to vary the different sections is one of the key things. So I really hope you enjoyed this. Plenty more Ed Sheeran lessons over on the website if you go to the songs part of JustinGuitar.com. If you happen to be over on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate your support. I'll see you for plenty more lessons and songs very soon. You take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.